Welcome, Hawkeye Nation, to another edition of Daily Iowan Football Forum. It's Wednesday, September 30th. It's almost October, guys. This isn't good. On Daily Iowan TV Sports, Mitch Fick, alongside my colleague from the TV side, Tony Battaglia, and from the print edition of the Daily Iowan, Amy Keene and Brendan Stiles. Now, guys, Tuesday, Kirk Ferentz revealed that on Monday, actually, Brian Bulaga is now cleared to play, and as far as Coach Ferentz was concerned, he's looking to start him on Saturday.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for Iowa to get him back. I mean, yeah, Riley Reef's come in the last 3 games, has played really well at left tackle, but you obviously can't replace a guy who's a preseason All-American. Is widely considered one of the best offensive linemen in the country, certainly the best offensive lineman in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and if you think about it, this running game has been fueled by, or the offensive game has been fueled by the 2 freshman running backs. To get back an offensive lineman with the stature that Bulaga has is huge for the freshman running backs.
And what a relief for the Hawkeyes to finally know what is going on with Bulaga. Because we found out today that there's going to be a thyroid issue. There's been a lot of rumors, and I'm glad that all got cleared up. And then it's not going to be a condition that he's going to have to deal with forever. Ferentz announced he's not going to have to take pills for a long time. That everything's taken care of.
Yeah, nice to have him back and definitely healthy. That's the biggest concern there. Now, Coach Ferentz also brought up a very interesting point about dealing with the success that the Hawkeyes are now having. They're 4-0, and he said that, you know, we've heard some arguments about when they came out against Northern Iowa and almost lost them, that there was a little adversity against there, people questioning offensive play calling, whether the defense was meshing together. Now they're 4-0, ranked in the top 15 in the nation, and now he's talking about dealing with success being more difficult than dealing with that adversity.
Yeah, and obviously, this is a classic example of a trap game that Iowa has with Arkansas State this week because, first of all, it's a non-conference game, and it just happens to be between maybe the biggest road game you have, at least until they get to Ohio State, and then, without question, the biggest home game of the season next week against Michigan. So, you know, just trying to deal with having the game be centered between those two, and also the fact that it's a non-conference game, it's a team that you normally never see Iowa play. It definitely, it's something that they got to worry about. The feeling I got from talking to players on Tuesday, though, is that the focus is just there this year, and that there is something different because obviously, like you said, they're off to a 4-0 start. Normally the mantra is that they get off to a slow start and then they end the season strong. Well, they're getting off to a fast start this year. And real quick, if they beat Arkansas State on Saturday, it'd be the first time ever under Kirk Ferentz that they start 5-0.
And I mean, Ferentz made it very clear that he didn't want everyone and all the fans to jump ahead to Michigan, that they should focus on Arkansas State, and that it is going to be a good game. And that was something that people were talking about, national championship, Big Tens, like all that stuff already. And Ferentz is like, he's like, I'm focusing Saturday. Let's start one game at a time.
And as a matter of fact, you talked about like the whole process of adding them to the schedule because originally, beginning of last year, this is just like a complete buy they need to get a 12th game. And he was talking about how right after they added Arkansas State to the schedule, they went on and beat Texas A&M, and he was thinking to himself, "Oh crap."
Yeah, you think about some students already booking their trips to Pasadena for January, but if you think about it, Arkansas State, this is their game of the year. They're looking to come to King, play in front of 70,000 people. This is their game of the year. So if we overlook them looking ahead of Michigan or even Ohio State, we could be in a lot of trouble.
Certainly could be. And Ferentz made an interesting point about the offense that Arkansas State runs. It's a spread offense. Iowa's only faced that so far this year against Iowa State. But he drew the line back to some Northwestern teams that had Brett Bazinet at quarterback and Tyrell Sutton in the backfield. Iowa's defense had a little trouble with the Northwestern Wildcats back when Bazinet was under center.
I would say, with all due respect to Arkansas State, yeah, you can make that comparison, but to honestly suggest that those players are going to be the caliber of guys that played in the Big Ten, I just don't know. And if anything, I think this could be a good game for Iowa to have this week in the sense of you are going to be playing Michigan next week, and we all know Michigan loves to run a spread offense at Rich Rodriguez. So if anything, it's going to be good preparation for what they're going to be dealing with next week because obviously Michigan's going to be a much more athletic team coming into Kinnick Stadium.
And it's definitely a good thing that the defense is receiving so many accolades, especially Pat Anger, who has been named the Lot Player of the Week, the Nagurski Player of the Week. How big is it that he and the rest of this defense really seem to be hitting their stride, obviously coming off a huge performance against Penn State. But now, like you mentioned, they're preparing against a spread offense for a spread offense. How much is that going to play into their favor?
Well, I feel like should, because so far they've played against a couple of spread offense. You mentioned Iowa State. Also, UNI ran a pretty decent spread offense against them, and for a while they were working, and things were working. And I just feel like with that one game in particular, I think that's the simple reminder they ever do think about, looking past this game. It's just like, well, you only beat UNI by 1 point, and you were fortunate enough to get 2 blocked field goals at the end. So, I mean,
I think it's kind of funny. Pat Anger a couple weeks ago said, you asked him, what is it going to take to get Defensive Player of the Week? And he said, shoot lightning bolts out of his, And he did everything but that against Penn State, so it's good to see him finally get it.
Certainly did. The offense starting to click a little bit. Stanzi hit receivers, just the receivers didn't bring the ball in a couple times there. But you have to think that at least, even with a performance like that, he knows he's putting the ball in the right spot. He's got to be gaining more confidence, especially coming into a game where he's played against teams like this before, where against Maine and Florida International last year. He had some very good games on those types of defenses.
And just I feel, in general, with the whole team, you have them win a game like they did last weekend against Penn State. They honestly have to be thinking to themselves right now, not getting too carried away, but they have to be thinking to themselves, they can play with anybody. Because that, I can tell you from being there Saturday, that was one of the most intense environments I think you could ever be a part of in college football. And to come out of there with a double-digit point victory, says a lot about the Iowa Hawkeyes.
And I think it just, for those who watched on TV, which is what most of us probably did, I think we actually saw Kirk Ferentz and Ricky Stanzi just had this load lifted off of them. I mean, I think I actually saw Kirk Ferentz smile, which was actually a nice
Does he have
touch.
that emotion?
It's present.
And, I think a lot of it, I hate to go back to the running game, but still, early in the season, it was kind of up for grabs. Stanzi, you thought maybe had a little bit more pressure on his shoulders, but now with Robinson and Wager doing a great job back there, you got to think that it gives, Stanzi that other option. So
Yeah, usually the run opens up the pass during one game. Sometimes it might take 4 or 5 games to open that up, though. But that's going to do it for this edition of Daily Iowan Football Forum. Iowa looking to avoid that trap game like we mentioned against Arkansas State on Saturday, 11 o'clock at Kinnick Stadium. Be sure to check these guys out Monday through Friday, the print edition of the Daily Iowan, of course, pregame always coming out on Friday. Tony and I are on Daily Iowan TV Sunday through Thursday at 9:30 and 10:30 p.m., Channel 4 in the dorms, Channel 17 in the city. Brendan Stiles, Amy Keene, Tony Battaglia, I'm Mitch Fick. We'll see you next time.